Great. So excited to talk to you, Nicole. I think I saw you briefly at the SCAD TV festival on the red carpet, so it's nice to
Oh, nice. Yeah, that
have
was
a more,
fun in Atlanta. That was
yeah,
fun.
it was so much fun. Congratulations on your Emmy nomination. I'm not surprised, but I was wondering if you
Thank
were.
you. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, it's so lovely. I'm humbled and I'm also just like, wow, I just jumped into this thing with these incredible people and somehow I'm being acknowledged, for my little part in it. So it's a dream come true, and it's also I'm kind of in like a pinch me moment, a little, and then also the women I'm in this category where they're all people that I respect a great deal. So no, I didn't believe it. Actually, when my manager called me, because we have like a funny relationship, she called me and I was like, this is not funny. Like this it's not a good joke. It's like, okay. And then you also couldn't find it because it wasn't the televised, we
Yeah.
weren't. So I was like, I was looking and I was like, I don't see that. That's actually not funny. I'm like, I don't know why you would do that. But it's real. It's a real thing. So I'm also excited, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
it's
Yeah.
such good work on the show. And I
Thank
was
you.
thinking about like as you approach this storyline, dealing with racism in television, racism period, did you have
Yeah.
any like reservations as a Black actress, and were you able to have any input in the direction that it went at all?
What an no, I don't feel like I had input. Look, I'm new on this gigantic show. Okay. So, there could be like a suggestion or two or like, what about, but no, but I feel like they had the right people in the writer's room. And there were some reservations. I had already started the season. I didn't know that this was necessarily happening. So it wasn't like I was like, oh, I can back out of this or something. And I wouldn't have wanted to. But there is this thing that happens when when it feels like you're the face of a particular conversation, then people are kind of scared of you in a way. Like people are
Yeah.
tiptoeing around you. I have felt that a little bit since it came out, almost as if like um I am actually Chris in some capacity, you know what I mean? So that has been interesting, sort of like, oh, interesting, because I played this, then it, and I'm sure that happens with like the guys who play like mobsters and stuff. People tiptoe around them or whatever. So they're probably like, you know what? She like she's not about the court decision. She's not about this. She doesn't play. I'm actually pretty quiet online about, and then like social media with like my personal stuff. I keep kind of things close to me and think about it. And Chris is just in a different place in her life. So yeah, that's actually a really interesting question. I hadn't really talked about that. But yeah, there was a little bit of like, I wonder. And there has been an effect, but I think the positive side of that has been it's outweighed it tremendously, The
Yeah,
people that have felt the catharsis and that have communicated like seeing something that they've never seen, but that they felt before.
that's great. So much of the show is, there's truth in the like there's storylines based on facts, like the January 6th stuff, but then your storyline is based on the fiction, even though we've dealt with hacks before. But I was wondering if you had ever personally dealt with a hack, or if you did any research on any of the hacks that had happened in Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few big hacks that happened that I think we all kind of know about, and
Yeah.
we're like, ugh. So that was in our awareness. I haven't been hacked, but the violation of like identity theft I've experienced, which is terrible. And I also have a friend who was hacked actually on set.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and someone tried to like ransom photos from their computer. Just having your like now I do this thing where I like put like a sticker. I'm like that person, but they actually recommend it where you turn off your computer, you put like a little
Yes.
sticker there over the camera just in case. I know I sound really paranoid, but it actually happened to a friend of mine. So it's a thing. I think we all need to like just be aware of it. I love the device that they used. I love the way that they created like this. chaos in this space that already has like this undercurrent and all this energy and
Yeah.
a little bit of its own chaos, and then it turned into like, I don't know, they were playing trap music, the whole thing. When I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I didn't see this. I was like, this is wow, they really went for it. And I love the show for that. Even what you were talking about, having that discussion about lineage and legacy media and racism, and gender, all in this. I don't know how they do it in this one, you know, 45-minute to an hour moment. I think that's a huge risk for them as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
to
I
have that
love the way they
conversation
handled it.
and
Yeah.
figure out how to do it. And it's a balancing act or a juggling act. And I'm just happy to be working with people that are courageous like that,
Yeah, I
you
bet.
know?
Your character is so relevant right now. I was thinking about it.
Oh my God, right?
One thing, she's an Olympian. And I was thinking about how that had to feel like your character at like it's a dual gut punch. One that, that she encounters this racist remark from Sybil, but two that like she has been to the top. She's won a gold medal, but it's still not enough. And I was wondering if that kind of played into your performance of this, like that's another gut punch of it, is that it's never enough, even if you've reached the pinnacle.
I mean, doesn't every, I don't know. I feel like that's the story. Like so many women feel that way. Whether even if it's not, race, it's like so many
Yeah.
people feel that way. Definitely a part of the storytelling. I think, seeing when you say relevant, like we're shooting season 4 right now, and it's been the hugest gift to watch the Olympics because it's just feeding so many of my choices, and it's just helping me and
Wow,
like
that's so
seeing
interesting.
it's yeah, because you're like, wow, look at them come back, look at
Yeah.
them wanting to be like, these are people who want to be remembered eons, that they want to break world records, they don't want like a
Yeah.
moment of fame, and there's so much discipline, and there's just like so much team spirit and like ensemble spirit, and it's about something so much bigger, but at the end of the day it's like present in one moment. And just seeing that, I knew that about Chris, but I'm like, I really know that in a way
Wow.
now, just watching this whole thing. So I think this season's going to be even better, which I'm excited about. But yeah, I mean, we've seen that with politicians, even. We've
Right.
seen people who are ready to do all the things, but people will question them. And that's just a part of for me, that's just, I'm very sober about things. So for me, I'm like, that's just a part of how it goes. But, that doesn't make for interesting television. So Chris, leans into it and tries to change the narrative.
Another really relevant thing that made me think of your character was the National Association of Black Journalists.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was gonna
My
say that
gosh.
did you watch that and did you think about your character?
Yeah, I saw pieces of that. Um, yeah, and of course I thought, of course, of course I thought about her. I thought about the Sybil interview. I thought about
Yeah,
there's just so many parallels again.
yeah,
And this is what I was saying earlier, is like they wrote this before I even showed up, before, so for us to have watched it a year ago, and this thing was probably written 2 years before that, right?
right,
And
yeah,
now these things are happening, like they're repeating right in front of us. So, somebody said, that this is not based on a true story. I'm like, well, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's interesting. I loved um just the way that people lean into logic, and it gave me a little bit of I felt like what Chris did in the interview felt real in a way, because I saw those journalists doing a similar thing, trying to still maintain a certain
Yeah,
decorum while asking people to clarify.
yeah,
um and I just thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, okay. So I wasn't off.
yeah.
Um, but isn't that trippy? It's kind of
Yes.
trippy.
It was, I
I'm
was
glad that
thinking
you
about it.
identified
Yeah.
that. I wasn't going to bring
Yeah.
that up in
I
these
wasn't sure
calls.
whether to bring it up too. And yeah.
No, I
So
love
yeah.
it. I love it
Yeah.
because it's something I've been thinking about, but I don't want to be like, hey, my scene was kind of like that's it's weird, but
Yeah.
it's like this is actually happening.
And
So
usually they're depicting things that have happened, and now you're
have
almost
happened,
predicting the future, which is weird. Yeah.
which is weird,
Yeah.
and also this very it puts us in this very meta loop.
Yeah.
Like, but you
Yeah.
know, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was wild to watch. Speaking of wild to watch, I love your scene with Holland Taylor, obviously, and I talked to you about it before, so I'm not going to ask you about the filming of it, but I do want to ask you about. Well, first of all, I think it's great that both of you got nominations
Isn't that
because
crazy? I love
it
that.
just goes
Oh,
to show the power of the scene. And I was thinking, why do you think people responded to it so much? Like that was just such a powerful scene.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, I I thought about this a little bit. I don't know for sure. I think there's something cathartic in someone leaning into and advocating not just for themselves, but for people who can't. And the letters and social media stuff, like all the stuff I've received from people that are like, I've gone through this, da, 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 da," but they never got to do the thing. They never got to take it that extra step.
Yeah,
I think that's universal, even though it seems like it's a story just about like race or pay equity. I think everyone kind of relates to that. And then maybe our dynamic, uh, I got to work with one of the most accomplished, amazing actresses, like on the planet. And I think we did play well. It's very strange because it's just like a scene where you're sort of talking to one another in chairs, but there's so much there. And we're having a conversation without leaning into the details. We're having a conversation about the history of America and people being used, to
yeah,
sell things. And I think it's a conversation that happens a great deal in the Black community too, of like culture appropriation, music, all these things being used to make a great deal of money, but then the people who are creating it don't receive the benefits
right.
of it or are not fully considered as collaborators or whatever. And so, without saying all of that, I feel like that's under that. And for me, there's a lot under that, a lot of moments and like thoughts in between the lines because we have one of my biggest things is like engage, especially when you have a lot less to do, when you don't have a lot to do, is to engage as much as you can with the material in like a lot of different ways. So I'm imagining like all of the different, not just ways to say it, but all the different meanings and all the stories that may have happened to just, you can say a line like, I love you. And that could be about your grandmother, your dog, your boyfriend, your
Right.
baby, your like all the things that come up that, you know, it has a context that's deeper than just that thing on the page. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like people can feel that.
I think you're
It's
absolutely right.
weird.
You're right. There's more to it than just words on the page. You're bringing this character's history that we don't even yet know everything about, and that comes through so well. Even with Sybil too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Like
yeah,
I feel like I felt like her potential for loss. There's a lot of things it's like we don't know everything that's happening, but something's happening.
right.
And that's the way to me, that's the way life actually feels when you see interactions. Sometimes you're like, I don't know how I feel where's that coming from? What is that reaction? So I think that's what it is. I don't know, but I feel really fortunate to have anybody care and like um enjoy what you're doing. That's,
Yeah,
that's why you do it, you
yeah.
know.
Well, it was such a great season, such a great moment. I can't
Thank
wait to
you.
see what you do in season 4. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much for this chat. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Megan. Great
Thank you.
questions. I really
Oh, great.
appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye.